interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, by air. President Roosevelt has just announced.
Since the beta, people started using demo rushes and grenadiers and half tracks, and it seems to be pretty effective as a diversion.
Deutschland von 1 hat 3/4 die Waffenziele gelegt. Ich habe die Grundfestensysteme erfüllt.
Mirror matches are a tricky thing. Lots of people do want the mirror matches, but there's their balance problems, you know? I mean, one of the things that I like to talk about...
We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our honor.
This is Bridge 1 to TSN Central. Tales of Heroes is a go. Repeat, Tales of Heroes is a go. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tales of Heroes. It is a video replay review, video match broadcast here. I am Bridger. Tales of Heroes is the weekly show every Sunday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time is the new time that we have it at now due to your response on GameReplays.org. Every Sunday at 8 we have a discussion about some topic in Company of Heroes. We talk about the news, then we talk about some kind of topic. Tonight's was early game imbalances. Are there any? If so, what we can do about them. Sort of came to the conclusion that the early game is fairly balanced. The only major problem we had was Panzerschreck Rush was a little bit too powerful. Panzerschreck damage versus buildings would be good to nerf somewhat. So here we are on Angeville, and this is going to be a great match here tonight. Allies versus the Axis. Let's meet up with my co-host here tonight. I am Bridger from the Team Sportscast Network. Of course, you can find our website, tales.tsncentral.com, tales.tsncentral.com. And I'm going to introduce my co-host for tonight, Vittensby. Thank you again for coming back this week, sir.
No, thank you once again, and I look forward to doing many more shows in the future. And again, welcome to all of our listeners.
And viewers, actually.
And viewers.
Now, if anybody can explain, that's watching the video, what the heck this little blue flashing thing is, because this happens on the trees sometimes. Not always, but sometimes, and I can't figure out why. And anyway, we'll have to put up with that for the moment. Moving on. Mystic, the Mystic. Thank you for joining us here tonight. He is actually one of the players in this match.
Yeah, and are we rolling right now?
No, I'm not unpaused yet, no.
Okay, good.
All right.
Yep, I'm back.
Move your
microphone
a little bit farther from your mouth, and we'll be perfect.
All right, got it.
Okay, so Achillez versus the Mystic. And is Achillez just some guy you found on a ranked match somewhere? Did you plan this match with him?
Actually, yeah, I joined ranked match, and I think I played about 25, 30 1 versus 1 since retail came out now with my different accounts. And this was a matchup that it was actually a pretty challenging game. He used airborne well, and give me one.
It's got some dogs in the background. So he used airborne, and I believe the Mystic mentioned earlier that did you use Terra? Did you say?
Actually, this game I went with Blitz, and I used the manpower boost to my advantage big time. Ended up using it twice, which gave me an extra 2,000 manpower early. And as you're going to see in this replay, on the infantry side, there was a ton of infantry combat, and gave me the advantage, I'd say, about mid-game. I don't want to ruin the end, but it is a pretty explosive ending.
All right, so let's first take a look at the map. I'm going to open it up here for us. And the tactical map. This is a very interesting map, and I really like it. As you can see, the eastern side of the map is all sort of urban. There's hedgerows, there's walls, there's buildings, so it's a lot more, close fighting. In the early game, I think it very much favors the Axis because it's got a lot of buildings, and MG42 is very powerful and good to get early, and so you have a lot of Axis on the right-hand side of the map, the eastern side, as I see it. That's their dominant side. The Allies, on the other hand, very wide open spaces on the left-hand side of the map. Lots of room to maneuver. The Sherman has a ball in the left-hand side of the map. Big open fields, a few trees, some bushes, but mostly just open space. You got your half-track that can flank around, your riflemen can flank around in many directions. Very, very hard for static defenses to hold very well in the western side of this map. Now, let's examine some very critical points that I think should be pointed out. Something you can't see from this view is this strategic point right here, and this strategic point right here will cut off your opponent completely. For example, this strategic point is needed in order to take resources from this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. This strategic point here for the Allies and this strategic point here for the Axis are critical, and you're going to see. Actually, I'm not sure if you're going to see a lot of harassment. I love to do a lot of harassment right here as the Axis will just rush in, bring the point down, and rush out. Because it's a strategic point and not any kind of other point, it goes down very quickly. And so these points I think are going to be very important. And I've got my own dog problem here. So I'm going to say those are going to be very important. The other thing to note is you have very high munitions and fuel points in both corners. Okay? Both corners have very high fuel points and high munitions points, and you got another high munition point here, another high munition point over here, so this is going to be a very high munitions map, period. Both sides are probably going to get access to 2 high munitions point and a medium munitions point, and that is a lot of munitions, especially if you put OPs on those high munitions points. I love going high munitions, either defensive to get that registered artillery, or terror on this map in order to get lots of different kinds of bombardment and propaganda and what have you, because you just get so much munitions. The last things to point out again, there's only one high fuel and only one low fuel on this map, so teching is a little bit slower, and that's actually the way I like it personally. So that's enough of my comments. Mystic, what did you plan going into this map? What's your opening plan before we start?
Well, with this map, I initially had a lot of trouble going against other allied players, and my goal in this map is essentially to cut him off from fuel as best as I could. And what I had usually observed is most allies, for some reason, seem to go to the east side, which is obviously more friendly to the Axis player. So it was my goal to do everything I could in my power to keep him from getting fuel, because once they get Shermans, it's almost usually game over, and I didn't want that to happen. So as you're going to see, I do everything I can to counter his infantry and allow myself to tech up while stalling his teching, which worked out pretty well.
Alright, so here's what we're going to do then. We're going to get ready and launch the map here, and we'll see how everything goes. Again, the Mystic is going to be on the Axis side. On the Allied side is going to be Achilles. Now, let me just check. If anybody is having any buffering problems, by the way, and you have IRC, I would recommend you talk to me in pound TSN on GameSurge or pound Company of Heroes on irc.hwcommunity.com. Just in case there's anything, I can lower the bandwidth later if we have a major problem and it's buffering for everyone. It may be the fact that some people just don't have a fast enough connection. I'm currently encoding at 600 and some odd kb per second. So if you don't have a fast connection down, it's going to be very hard. If you don't have, for example, 100 kilobytes per second, if you can't download that when you're downloading a file, if it doesn't get up to 100 kilobytes ever, you're going to have a very hard time watching the matches. And I'm going to provide the replays and the audio afterwards for those people. So let's get ready and let's go. The game will be unpaused, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, unpause. Sorry, we took a little while to get there. But I will attempt to make the replay and audio available. I actually have to upload last week's tonight, so that you guys can, those that with the bandwidth impaired, can download the audio, play the audio, and then unpause the replay at the same time as I unpause my game, and it'll be synced up. So you can listen to the commentary and watch the replay if you don't have enough bandwidth for the actual broadcast. So let me turn on the game sounds. I think that would be important so you guys can hear what's going on here. And let's see what's going on. First, we got a double Pioneer start, and then going straight for, is that an MG coming out of the Wehrmacht quarters there, Mystic?
Yes, it is. I found that they work best early on, so that's why I went straight for.
All right, so we have the Axis again going for the right-hand side with both engineers, and I wish those dang blue flashing things would not be there. If there was something I could do, I would totally do it right now, but I have no idea what the heck
What is it?
to do. Just blue flashing lights, like flashing things as if the textures are screwed up on all the things. I apologize for that, guys. It doesn't always happen. It seems to only happen on replays, actually. So, it didn't count on Stursdorf because there's not enough foliage. But we see the Axis taking, as I mentioned here, if you look on the tactical map, this point right here is so important because it connects the entire right-hand side of the Axis base to the rest of this section. Without this, they get no resources from over here, and they can't build anything over here. Same for the Allies with this point. You'll see it controls access to everything over here, so it's balanced in that sense. But we have the machine gun coming out first. He's probably going to be going for one of these buildings right here or here. This one is a great one in the top here. Is that the one you went for, the northernmost building?
Actually, I went to the one that's kind of on an angle, right next to the road.
Yeah, that's a good one to get as well. It helps
to jump in right
prevent enemies from going in a particular direction. You know they're going to have to come on this side of the map if you put a machine gun there. And that is going to probably destroy these engineers right here as soon as they get inside that building. Here comes the machine gun opening. There it is! Opening fire on the engineers. I love the animations that you can see. All the excellent action that's going on. Let's move back. Engineers are retreating. They did manage to take this point down, but it's going to be a very trivial to get back. As we can see, the Mystic is taking it back right now. Allies are taking the left-hand side of the map, the western side, completely unopposed at this point. But they are putting up a small fight. They've got some riflemen and engineers here as well. What do we have coming out next? Is this going to be another MG squad? Wittensby, how is this going to unfold on the right-hand side? Do you think the Mystic's going to be able to hold these points he's taken?
Well, certainly the Allied player would normally get the left-hand side. If you send a rifleman squad over there to cap it faster, then you're going to have an even bigger advantage against some strangely placed static MG. So what I like to do is just focus on the right side, which is exactly what he's doing, and harass that point, which is exactly what he's doing, to make sure that those early gains that they get on the left doesn't count for very long, and it's always being interrupted unless they keep something there. Some people could say, well, you got the fuel point in the south and the plus 10 munitions, but you have the plus 16 munitions and plus 16 fuel point in the right-hand corner. So he's playing the map the way I would play it, and I like to think that my way is right, and he seems to agree with me. So, yeah, it's he's doing quite well.
And if you can see, I cut off his critical point there, because that fuel is key for him to get his Shermans. And when I talked to him after the game, that's what he said he was planning on doing, was rushing the Shermans, and I made that very tough for him.
Yes, I can absolutely see where that is happening. Sometimes people don't notice. They don't notice this one little point that you capture. One strategic point. It's very quick to capture. I think Allies is actually a little bit easier to capture than Axis because it's back here. It's got a wall, defending. It seems a little farther away from the Allied base. I don't know. Maybe it's the same, but I have used that strategy on a lot of people, just taking that one little strategic point and preventing the enemy from seeing it. But you've got a machine gun over here that's watching this whole approach on the right-hand side here, and this machine gun watching the whole approach on this side over here. So the Allies are really screwed on the right-hand side. This is excellent placement of the machine guns right here. If you get one of them in this building, it'll be even better. He can block almost the entire thing moving up. I don't know if you're going to do that, but it's probably a little bit too close to their base to do that. So we've got a weapon support center now, in addition to the barracks, probably going to be a sniper or a mortar to help take out those machine guns. We'll see what happens with that. We've got the munitions going up, and as you mentioned, he still has not recaptured this strategic point. He probably hasn't noticed, or he would have sent an engineer squad at least over there to take it. It's something that it's not always completely obvious. He's still over here taking points with his engineers. He doesn't recognize that he's not getting any resources from the whole eastern portion of the map.
Well, and if you've noticed, he's got a sniper at the north point that's been sniping by MGs, and that's what he was trying to do. And that's what he was trying to do, is clear that out so he could push down the road.
It appears that he chose the barracks first, but then he quickly realized, well, maybe that wasn't such a good decision. I mean, he only got, it looks like, one squad of riflemen with it. I don't know if that was necessarily the right thing to do. I mean, like we talked about earlier, you kind of have to pick and choose. At least if you're going to build the building, build a couple units with it. Don't just get one squad and then go straight for the other one.
Yep. So his sniper actually almost got destroyed right there. He had to bring it back with about 1/10 or 1/15 of health. He's got a mortar now, which he's using to attack this building, I believe. One of these buildings. Right here. This one, I don't know. Did you have a machine gun in that building and it's not there anymore?
Yeah, actually, I pulled the MG back.
I see.
His sniper had taken out 2 of the members already.
Gotcha. It's down here. Okay. I was looking at the other thing, and I can't believe the major problem here is he just didn't notice. He's not getting fuel. He didn't look his minis map because this is all flashing. All these sectors that the ally has is not giving him any resources. He's not getting munitions from any of these points. He's not getting fuel from that point, and that's the critical difference right now.
And his argument to me was that he was convinced that I had MGs over there still, and he was trying to tech to the armored cars to try to clear it out for him. Because
well, the thing is, that point
really have...
is not. If you had that machine gun in the building, it doesn't reach all the way over to that point, does it? Does it reach over the hedgerow?
It reaches to the shrubs, but you got to keep in mind I was spamming MGs. I think I ultimately had about 3 total. And for all he knew, I had one sitting at one of those trees back there. I mean, here he is coming back to get it back. He's bringing his infantry out. He's got his sniper coming too.
Definitely is about time. If he had gone and explored that a little bit earlier, it might have been better to get that. But now he's finally getting it back. Now he can get some resources from all of these points, and that's what he really needs desperately in order to tech up and get through you here. You have not teched up to tier... Oh, you have teched up to tier 2. You're getting a Sturm... Tech 3! Sturm Armory is coming up right now. I can't imagine how he's going to be able to come back from this being so far behind.
You know, he does pull a few tricks in this game, so you'll see.
Alright, so we'll keep watching. Vidensby, right now, let me see, what kind of control do we have on this map? If I can open it up. We got a machine gun on the top right versus a sniper and a very, very low Volk squad. If I can understand. Only 1-2 guys left. Oh, he had to retreat him because another guy just got owned by the sniper, and the retreating guy got shot! That doesn't happen very often. Usually they get away. But the sniper, hiding... Where the hell is he? I can't even see him. Oh, he got retreated. Okay. He was getting probably too close. Or too revealed. But at the same time, he forced a machine gun to retreat, too.
Yep.
Very good. Keep in mind...
Unfortunately, MGs can't really rush a sniper.
No, really.
I was just going to say...
That is unfortunate.
I think the Mystic placed that MG in a very good spot to just kill 1 or 2 riflemen, but it's still, because it's in the corner of the map, but it still expresses the problem that Axis have solidifying the left side of the map. There really isn't a great place to plant an MG unless you're going to support it, and if you do that, you have to sacrifice the right side of the map.
And here's an unfortunate thing. When you're fighting machine guns, a lot of the time, look at that, 3 guys go down in the retreat. 4 guys go down in the retreat. A lot of the time, you have units that have just been getting peppered by machine gun fire, and 6 of them are alive, but each one is at like 10% health. So that squad goes into battle, and guys die instantaneously. They had the retreat defense on top of everything they already had, and they still got killed. So... Now, actually, the Allies are winning at this point because they forced the MG to retreat over here on the east. So the Allies now have the advantage in terms of victory points. They're not winning, I'm sorry. It's 457 to 447. So it's going down slowly in favor of the Allies. They are taking back territory. The only place now that we are advancing on the Axis side is the Volksgrenadiers and Machine Gun over here on the east are taking these points and securing them. But here comes the first Stug. Mystic is going to have to... Achilles is going to have to pull something out here, and he is getting a motor pool. Let's hope it's going to be the first thing out of the gate. It's going to be a couple AT guns, because he is going to have a hell of a time. Look at here, he's got all his riflemen, engineers. Actually, how many riflemen does he have here? There's 2 riflemen out here. That's not going to be enough to take out, even with 2 stickies each. The Stug is probably going to be able to take out a lot of guys.
And, well, you know what? The problem with the Stug is it's very inaccurate. I brought the Stug out mainly for an effect to keep him pushed back. And if you look, I already had upgraded the Stug to Tier 1. To the upgrade level 1.
Veteran.
So it was my goal to upgrade this to level 2 so I could use the Stugs for anti-infantry as well.
Yes. That is actually what we were talking about just before. You can see that machine gun on the Stug. Wow, there goes... there goes the body of that Jeep flying. I think it was destroyed earlier and the Stug actually shot at it. As you mentioned, it is very inaccurate. Sometimes it'll get a kill, but a lot of the times it won't. So, actually, here comes a rifleman, possibly a sticky. I don't know, they're just kind of sitting there behind the Stug. They're not attacking it, though. But as we were mentioning before, here you can see the machine gun on top of the Stug. It's not activated. Here comes the sticky. The machine gun is not activated until Tier 2. Another sticky. Damaged engine. Boom, another one. It's very low. Very damaged engine. It's going to try and limp away here. I think, actually, it might have been better to just stay and fight.
Yeah, and you know what? I was convinced he'd be out of munitions. I'd be able to get away, but once I saw that third one, I said, alright, it's time to turn around and just try.
Oh, no, that's not good. There you go. That's what. Stand and fight. Destroy as many as you can. Now, what happened over here on the left? Your guys got, you know, attacking the main machine gun at their base? Maybe not. And there goes the Stug.
You know, I didn't notice it.
They actually, I think they were going around it or something. Oh, they were going to kill the mortar squad over there, and they got suppressed a little bit at the main base. So here we have a Volk squad and a Pioneer squad against Rifleman. Rifleman's about to get killed. He's not going to be able to retreat. He's not going to be able to save that unit at all. But a sniper coming to save the day as well. Very, very great gameplay here, going back and forth. The Axis coming back on the left-hand side, though, at the same time. You've been using a machine gun squad to capture the left side of the map while he was distracted with the Stug, huh?
Yeah, I figured I had to do something with it because he wasn't pushing on the west, so I was going to make use of that unit while I could.
All right, so Vinsby, what's the Allies got to do now? He's sort of taken back the initiative. He's lost a lot of points, though.
I think the Allied player more or less really needs to start holding down that strategic point. He keeps on losing it for minutes at a time, and you're doing a great job starving him off from gaining any advantage where they should be getting an advantage, which is on the western side of the map. One additional comment is that when you get a Stug first, you usually do that because you're expecting armored cars, and of course the Puma can't take out an M8. So I usually like to go Stug first as well. I think that might, in most situations, unless the person's fast teching to tanks, and you somehow know that, that's usually the best situation.
Now, I assume
if
the Puma gets the upgrade, though, then it can take out M8s? The upgraded cannon?
Unless you get armor skirts. Unless you get armor skirts on the M8.
Oh, and then it takes out. Right. That's interesting. That's an interesting upgrade system. So, right now, we do have a motor pool, which we've used to get one anti-tank gun here. He's just making sure that he doesn't know where to go with it, because he doesn't know where the next Stug will come. And the Stug's actually got two, so you can see on the Stug, we've got an extra guy there running the MG. Very cool. Very, very useful. That machine gun can actually suppress enemy infantry, which is what he's about to do here if he gets another couple bursts out of this squad. Time to retreat at this point.
And
there it goes. Go ahead.
I also pulled out the Storm squads as well and upgraded them to Tier 1, and also popped on some Panzer Shreks in case he was going armor. Fortunately, there wasn't too much armor action here, but lots of infantry battles going on.
Certainly, and he moved his AT gun, unfortunately, to the wrong side of the map to counter, but he's just going to try and hold this upper part. Interesting choices you can make on this map to either try and hold the right-hand side with its 2 victory points, or try and hold the right-hand side closest to you and the left-hand victory point. And it's going back and forth, and it's still very close here. It's about a 30-ticket difference, 29-ticket advantage right now for the Mystic on the Axis side here. But we're just going to have to see how things go. Again, that holding down that strategic point is completely starving him of fuel. You must have tons of fuel at this point.
And over on... Oh yeah, I did. And over on the east side, I put an MG in that house in the far east, specifically because I knew it was going to start pushing that side.
Unfortunately, it's getting sniped here right now, it looks like, and the machine's going to have to retreat. That's a good place to put it, but he countered it nicely with a sniper. He's going to take out the observation post. He's really done a number on the east side, but this is where it's probably going to stop, is we've got a Stug coming into the mix here. And it takes a shot from an AT gun. He wasn't keeping too good track. AT gun way up there. So that's going to make it weak already. His other Stug is here as well, though. So unless this AT gun moves up, it looks like the Mystic is going to take a huge advantage here. He lost a rifle squad in the fight there. The Mystic, unfortunately, did lose his observation post, so he's going to He still has both plus 16 fuels, though, so, you know, it doesn't make a big difference. Let's see if he's going to come into range of this AT gun. Not quite. There he did! Not good. Excellent. Mystic's Stug is going to take a lot of damage. Is he going to get out of there in time? It's got a damaged engine. Oh no! It's out of control! And good night! Gotta love those explosions. Beautiful. The body fell out of the top cupola. Love it. Okay, back to what's going on over here.
Now I want to show... Now over on the west side, he just picked up my Panzerschreck and starts using it against my Stug.
Oh, wow! Awesome! And you can sticky it, too. Oh, no, he doesn't have stickies on the airborne, unfortunately. No, I see. But he's going to be able to reinforce that and just continually attack. The Panzerschreck is owning the Stug, even from very close frontal armor. It's pinned. Or, sorry, it's suppressed but not pinned. One more shot from that Panzerschreck. If he turns it away, wow! Where did that body go? Flying through the air. I love the ragdoll effects. Can't get enough of them. Great job. He picks up a Panzerschreck. Awesome, awesome move there. And just like that, he takes the initiative back by destroying those two Stugs. Vittensby, what could have Mystic have done with those Stugs? Could he use them a little more conservatively to make sure he didn't lose them so easily?
I think the only thing he could have done was keep him behind that hedgerow and maybe, I don't know, you could have maybe gotten a bike and tried to go down that main road and just see what he had in the area, see if he had an AT gun, because you certainly didn't see any tanks yet. But I think the Mystic is playing great right now. He's got an exceptional amount of map control. I mean, all the opponent has is just a plus 16 munitions point that's really giving him anything worthwhile, and one victory point for that matter. But I think the map control is certainly deciding this battle. I'm just looking forward to that manpower blitz. Have you used it yet? Have you got enough points?
You know, I think I had already used it once to pump out some units. If you look down at my base, I've got 4 squads of infantry now going out. I think this is right when I'd used the second boost, which gave me an extra 1,000.
Right, so we've got two upgraded Volk squads and 2 upgraded Grenadier squads with Panzerschrecks. This is going to be powerful with 2 Stugs coming.
The early veterancy is really helping out as well, and it's definitely an interesting strategy. It's a break from what I think most players do. They'd probably rather get another tank, but if you can get level 1 and especially level 2 veterancy on your tanks, then you're really in good shape.
This is going to be a big battle here as the Axis try and storm these AT guns, and it looks like they're going to work because those Volks are going to do a number on that airborne squad. Rifleman squad, sorry. And wow, just like that, they've almost killed these AT guns. Grenade, though! Wow! Not good. Lost, I think, 2 of those Germans, 3 of those Germans. And the Rifleman squad is destroyed. The AT guns are down. It is time for those Stugs to come and make their appearance, and here they come. Driving through. Oh, that poor cart! Come on, that guy needed... Ah, they're the Germans, they don't care. Lots of AT guns all over the place. Unfortunately, Achilles did not support those AT guns. If he had had just 2 MGs, 1 MG even, would have been enough to stop that mass of infantry from charging the AT guns. He lost a lot of guys in it, though. He lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys in the rush to take those AT guns. 2 of them from a sniper that actually fundamentally got killed afterwards. But at this point, I think Allies are in big trouble. They had some good comebacks there with the AT guns, lost both of them pretty irresponsibly. What do you think about that, Vittensby? I think he could have done a lot better job defending him.
I think so as well. He got maybe 1 too many AT guns. I'm not entirely sure. 1 and some sticky support might have been enough, especially considering Stugs don't move all that fast, especially over this kind of terrain. They're a little bit better on the center road. But I still think the Allied player might have a chance for one main reason. He's getting supply drops right now, so he's getting a lot of resources through that, as opposed to getting it through map control. So I definitely think that he still has a pretty good chance. And also, if you look on the left-hand side, he's using his engineers to pick up the supply drops, particularly the MG. So that'll give him a little bit extra help, considering he doesn't have that much on the map right now.
And that was his biggest downfall here, is a lack of fuel. He couldn't tech up to the Shermans that he wanted to eventually make.
Yep. That's definitely a problem. I mean, he's not been spending any fuel, though, right? I mean, I haven't seen him build anything that requires fuel at this point, so he's got to have a stock of fuel. He's just not he's not waiting for the manpower to build the tank depot.
Well, unless I believe the supply yard upgrade for the manpower, I believe that also cost some fuel. Is that true?
Right. He might have actually gotten one of those.
I believe it costs 160 and 80 fuel. Is it 80 for the first level? I think that's what it is.
That might be it. He actually got the first armored car out right now, so he's starting to use his fuel here. He's got a nice group, like you mentioned. He's got mortars over here. He's using the supply drop, and he's got tons of stuff. He should be taking all these points with all these infantry squads just because he has the time. There's nobody over here, but you can never count on that. More stormtroopers coming in for Mystic. And here comes the Stugs, fully repaired. Go ahead.
And in the center, I upgraded one of the buildings where I could actually reinforce. I didn't have to run back to main anymore.
Yes, the forward barracks. Very good.
Yep.
A third Stug coming out, and lots of stormtroopers. He has got a machine gun this time, which is going to make a big difference. It's kind of sitting in the middle of nowhere, though. That's a big problem. He should have had it, set up in one of these good places to try and defend against the... Actually, this is going to be perfect. He's got it angled in the right direction this time. I didn't think that was going to work, but the enemy's coming from the middle. So that's going to pin those squads right there. He's going to be able to move the AT gun back. It's not going to be enough against 3 Stugs, though, I don't think. Especially not as soon as they take out that machine gun. He's got it angled in the wrong direction. Allies still using those Panzerschrecks on the Stugs.
Yeah, and that thing hurts.
It does. Right now we have most Stugs are actually, one of them's at 50%. That's the closest. He lost the AT gun. The gunner was killed on there. That's not good for sure. He's got one guy left in that Panzerschreck equipped squad. And he's got airborne, but they've got nothing to kill Stugs with. I don't know why he dropped airborne instead of an AT squad there. Or farther back, like maybe over here somewhere that could shoot at the Stugs before it could turn around. He's got to completely fall back. This is a massacre. But wow! I think that was some friendly fire there. I could have sworn I saw... Never mind, I guess those were all Allied bodies. It looked like Germans exploded too. And hey, what is this? A rifle squad sneaking around behind German lines on the eastern side of the map. Nice job. Good multitasking. And nobody's got the fuel point down in the bottom left. Interesting. A couple of Stugs desperately.
Yeah, he had taken that away from me when I wasn't looking. I was just saying he had taken that away from me when I wasn't looking, right before the battle.
Look at I love the pathing in this game. They're like, let's show off the graphics by, driving through everything imaginable on our process of getting somewhere. Here he goes. Right through the trees. Stomps him down. Whatever. Okay, so...
You know something else I've noticed? The Stugs seem to be able to run over infantry once they hit level 2 or 3. You can actually drive through them and kill them.
Well, you can do that to any infantry, I think, as long as they're pinned and on the ground. Otherwise, infantry will simply walk out of the way.
Okay.
I'm fairly certain that is the qualification. And I believe we had an engineer squad over here. Yes, an engineer squad taking back this point, and the M8 promptly scared it away. The Stugs actually have not been healed. This is going to be a big problem if we run up against some rifleman squads or something. The Ally cannot have a lot of munitions, though, so those airborne are not upgraded with coilless. Oh, my! 3 Stugs, 2 of which have machine guns. Those airborne are getting the hell out of Dodge. There they go. Map control is folding right now for the Allies. He's got nothing. He's got actually a couple of anti-tank guns over here. He could use these airborne to man the anti-tank guns and then reinforce from the air. That would be his saving grace if these thugs run into it as damaged as they are. He could kill all 3 of them before Mystic knows what's happening. We'll have to find out. An armored car. Trying to run away. Uh-oh. It's got to get away from those tanks. Thankfully, the armored car is faster. But look at this map control now. The entire map, save for 1 fuel point, has fallen into Mystic's control. I don't think there's a way you can lose this Mystic at this point.
Yeah, he was starting to get a little bit upset here. Now, if you look, though, he did get an airborne finally with recoil, but his lack of ammunition really screwed him in that aspect.
Yep, and he's finally got the AT gun at the top here. Manned that with one of his squads. And let's see if it's going to be enough. We have a battle over here. Uh-oh, Airborne are getting destroyed by the Volks. Absolutely hammered. He's got a recoilless, but it's not really going to matter, I don't think, if he gets killed. Wow, was that a satchel charge? Or was that just a recoilless shot?
No, that was
I
a
believe
grenade.
so. Was it? Okay.
It was a grenade. Yeah, it really worked well too.
Oh, okay. It was an okay, that's right. I forgot the allies also get grenades. Now he's got tons of units over here, but he's not taking these points. He's had infantry sitting over here. He could have at least been trying to get these points. I don't know if he's out of hope or what.
Yeah, this is the point he actually started chatting a little bit, complaining about the situation. And there is a final push coming in a second here.
Whoa, explosion! And there's nothing left of that allied engineer squad. And there's nothing left of that one either. Poor dead corpse. Poor guy. That was a airborne squad, you can tell. I love how it's so detailed, I can look at a body on the ground and discover what kind of unit it was. And here he's going to walk right into your AT gun fire. Could help him out if he turns on the AP rounds. It looks like you managed to repair those tanks, though, so it's probably not going to finish. Oh, no! Shell got directed somewhere else. Deflected off of the Stug, and now the Stug's going to kill it. No question. Endgame is only a few short moments away. Looking down the barrel of a gun, these poor mortar squads. Oh! Explosion! He fell into the other crater. I just love watching this game. I'm sorry, I'm not letting you guys talk. Go ahead. This is too exciting. I believe this is it, though. This is pretty much the end. Does he resign after this? He's got nothing.
No, actually, he fights to the very end, and he puts up a pretty good fight, putting some AT guns at the far side of his base. But you're going to see some serious infantry destruction going on in a second here as I push in and blow the bunker.
All right, that's what I want to see. Serious infantry destruction. That's what I came here to watch. So we got a couple of Volks. We got a Volks and a couple of Stormtrooper squads here, and we got nothing to do, so let's just kind of check them out. Whoa, those guys look cool. That's a big gun you got there, buddy. All right, I'm done. Now we're just waiting on the big push to come here. And it should be coming soon. And I'm... Anything else to say? Vittensby, help me out.
Yeah, I'm sure. I got one thing to add. 2 little techniques you can use. One that someone definitely would know, and one that someone might not know. The first one is the one that someone would know, is that you can pick up other players' AT guns and use them for your own advantage, and the one that they probably wouldn't necessarily know would be that you can, if you don't want to pick them up and you don't want your opponent to pick them up, you could use a tank and just attack ground on it to destroy it in about 2 or 3 shots. So I was just curious as to, was there any particular reason why you didn't necessarily pick up his AT guns and then reinforce cheaply with the Volks or even the Stormtroopers if you wanted to waste some manpower? Or B, was there a reason why you didn't destroy them?
Well, the anti-tank guns, I really didn't think I'd ever need them because I control the fuel so well in this game. Honestly, can you target empty guns?
Yeah, you can attack ground.
You can attack ground right on them with the tank. And it gives you experience too, which is great. You get a little bit extra experience from it.
That's a great tip.
That is something I did not know.
And actually, we can see the side skirts on these tanks as they're rolling into the base here for the final assault.
Are you seeing this Jeep carcass get pushed too?
Yeah, I saw it actually get pushed a chunk of the way. I don't think... Oh, is that it? That's it. That's the Jeep carcass from the very beginning of the game. That's what's great about this game. Unfortunately, the gunner on these Stugs is notoriously easy to kill because he's very... Actually, you can shoot the gunner out of these things with, I think, regular weapons, like regular infantry weapons will kill the gunners too. Maybe not. Maybe it takes an explosion. I'm not sure. But wow. These Stugs are getting owned. Recoilless rifle is the only thing that you can't pick up that I've noticed. That one you can't pick up. I've never been able to pick up a recoilless rifle after it's been dropped. I wonder why that is.
Yeah, I haven't seen them really myself.
I wonder why you can pick up a Panzerschreck and a bazooka, but not a recoilless. I wonder if that was a mistake or they did that on purpose.
If you look straight east, he's pulling in AT guns just as I pull in a Tiger, which you rarely see. And this is also a fully upgraded Tiger.
Ah, the Tiger Ace. Oh no, I'm sorry, you're right. Not a Tiger Ace, but full veterancy because you have all the veteran upgrades at the Kampfkraft Center. And I love how the Tiger can just crush right through anything on the map. The Tiger and the Pershing are the only units that can do that. Oh, and I think the Crocodile that also has the Bulldozer is the only other unit I think that can heavy crush as it is and just crush through anything. So this is going to be an interesting attack here if he moves these AT guns into range. Or your HQ is going to get destroyed before that happens. Sorry, go ahead.
I think this game was a perfect example of how Axis should play on this map, with holding the right early while harassing that strategic point on the left. And once you get an advantage on the right, forcing your opponent to move some forces over there, which usually end up getting annihilated by MGs and a little bit of Volk support, then you make a push for the left and try to hold that as well as holding the right. And I think the Mystic play this pretty much perfectly.
You know, it's really cool. The playback stopped, and you can see the two shells that got fired at the Tiger tank and didn't impact, just flying through the air.
Yeah. It's awesome because the little missiles and everything are actual objects in the game.
And actually what I noticed is, because they wanted to be able to let you see the shells that were flying through the air, and they wanted to make it look right, but they couldn't make them move at realistic speeds, or it wouldn't be renderable, right? You wouldn't be able to render an AT shell traveling at 500 feet per second or whatever the heck the actual speed is. So, as a result, they actually that might not be the reason. I watched the AT gun just a moment ago fire at a moving Tiger, and because I was watching from the AT gun's line of sight, the shell actually curved and hit the Tiger because the Tiger was moving on a perpendicular. So it didn't aim ahead of it to hit it. It just curved like a curveball. The curveball AT shot. That was pretty cool.
And there's also rockets in there too. Even the rockets are drawn if you look right next to the HQ.
Oh yeah, I see it over there right now. There it is.
Yeah, I just took a couple screenshots zoomed in of that rocket that's glowing right in the middle. It's good stuff.
That's really cool.
I think the only reason why the Allied player was able to survive so long is because of the supply drops, because he certainly didn't have very much map control at all. And that just goes to show you that maybe Airborne isn't necessarily as weak as some people think.
Oh no, it's definitely not weak. It's very strong, I think. You can kind of skip Tier 3 with Airborne, because you can just para-drop for 10 more munitions. 10 more manpower, your AT guns everywhere. And that's the only thing I go to Tier 3 for, really. I like to skip Tier 3 and go for tanks, rather than go for half-tracks. I just get the AT guns from my Airborne tree.
Right.
Might not be the best. I play mostly Axis, so that very well could be not the best strategy to use. So don't quote me on that one.
My recommendation to players is pick up Armor Company more. Armor Company, between the Calliope and the Pershing.
You mean the Calliope?
Those are two of the best tanks in the game. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Calliope.
That's what I said too first, though. everybody always yelled at me because I play Axis and I never hear him say Calliope here, so I never knew how to pronounce it. Calliope, at least how they pronounce it. So
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, you know what? That thing can almost one-shot even Tier 3 and 4 buildings. If he gets in close enough where those rockets land on the building, it's pretty much toast. 2-3 more tank shells and it's gone.
Yeah.
And then when you use it even on infantry or armor, it pretty much obliterates anything in the game.
Yep. It's incredibly powerful.
You really need to spread. You really need to spread out your forces when you're going up against the Calliopes and stay close to them with your tanks, because one barrage and you got 2 or 3 tanks sitting there, they're going to all be reduced to a third of health or half health, depending on how large of a disbursement of the rockets it is. So
it's even worse when you're repairing. If he gets a sniper in there after a battle, when you pull back, that's what actually a really good strategy is. You move in, and you have a tank battle, and you pretend to pull back, and you lose, and you move a jeep or a sniper in there to get a line, because he's going to start repairing his tanks, and you drop a Calliope barrage on all his tanks as you're repairing them. You'll get the engineers and damage the tanks further, and charge back in. Ouch.
Yep.
All right, so I think that's about it.
So you guys enjoy the game?
This is what I actually forgot. Is let's go to the stats this time, because I forgot it last time. Unfortunately. That was a good game, though, yeah. It was a little bit one-sided, but he definitely played really well, even though he was losing most of the game. So GG to Achilles. I bet he never even knew that his thing was going to be on tonight.
Oh, no, he did. He actually wanted to come on, too,
Oh.
but he had something come up.
Well, he can watch it in the on-demand system at www.tsncentral.com/on-demand under Tales of Heroes. That's where last week's episode is. So, infantry, wow, you doubled his score in infantry. Vehicles, he actually did better than you in the vehicle category, because that includes killing vehicles, not just producing vehicles. So he did a lot better in that because he didn't produce many, so you didn't have many to kill. You beat him in territory and definitely in kills. So let's look at the different trees here. He produced 150 infantry to your 49, but he lost 100 of those. Yikes. Now, wait a minute. Oh no, I'm confused. How did he produce 150 and lose 100? He didn't have 50 infantry running around at the end.
I'm not sure. I'm trying to think how that can work out.
That's really weird. Maybe there's
that's
something
strange.
weird in the replay stats. Like, just weird in the replay stats, but... Huh.
Well, I think that also if you look at the territory, I don't think that the munitions and fuel from the supply drops are included in that. Certainly, even if he got completely outclassed or had no map control, you would have more than 477 with those supply drops coming every 2 minutes of the game, at least in a 30-minute game. And he got those supply drops pretty quickly. And doesn't
Right,
give
so
you,
that's sure.
like
I'm sure
100
that doesn't count it,
munitions.
yeah. But this is an interesting thing of the
Well, and
upkeep.
plus my manpower boosts.
An interesting... Yeah, that's
I don't
true.
believe the manpower boost.
Well, oh, you're right. That doesn't count as far as added manpower, maybe. The other interesting thing to note is the upkeep system, which gave Achilles, despite being allies and having a harsher upkeep penalty, it gave him approximately 1,000 more manpower over the course of the game, because he was, behind, because you had such a big army, and he had such a little army compared. So that's kind of a cool thing to see. And
But as you can see, 436 fuel. That's really brutal, especially when he built, both infantry buildings early in the game.
yeah, if
That's obviously why he had such a hard time teching.
I think the main thing is if he had taken back that strategic point right after you had taken it, and just held on to that for the entire time that he had lost it, he would have been much back in the game. He would have been able to pull out more armored cars. He would have been able to build the motor pool earlier and counter your first couple stugs easier, and it would have completely changed the game if he had had that strategic point, because he lost so much munitions and fuel from that he could not come back, even after he retook that left side, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah, while the Mystic was focusing on the right, he just harassed that point, and for 5, maybe even the first 10 minutes of the game, he did not take that point back. I guess he just didn't realize that he didn't see the flashing of the territory that he controlled, because that certainly cost him a couple hundred of each munitions and fuel.
Exactly,
Sure.
yeah. I'm sure. And, you use a lot of the veterancy upgrades at the Comcraft Center, Mystic, which is not a lot of Axis players do it, and some people say, it's not worth building, but I actually like building the first level infantry and getting the first 2 levels of tanks as my personal strategy. You sort of took the exact same route that I usually do.
Right, and what I've been finding is, I get tired of doing the same thing over and over, and that's why I've been playing with veterancy now. And I honestly, even on the infantry side, it comes in very, very useful because they seem tougher, they seem more accurate, and especially with the tanks. I mean, most Axis players now, especially 1 versus 1, they never get a chance to hit tier 4, and with the Stugs, getting that MG on top is invaluable. Especially when going against rifle spam, because that's one of the biggest challenges I think Axis players face is the rifles.
Yep, and I think the other part of that is the Allies do have a way to spend one lump sum and heal up their infantry whenever they need to. They can retreat them back, and the triage center will heal them up over time. The Axis, meanwhile, the normal way they heal their infantry is they have to pay 35 munitions a pop. That's ridiculously expensive. But if you just get that one upgrade on the thing, you'll never have the same problem that he had running a full squad of riflemen that were all down to about 10% health each and having them all die to one shot. That's a big issue. I mean,
Right.
Even though you have 6 riflemen, them all being at 10% means your entire squad is at 10% health. And there's no real easy way to do that unless you build a triage center or upgrade your veterancy on the Axis side. So I always do both of those. If I'm fighting in the early game, I always try and get a triage center up if I have the extra fuel, because that's extremely invaluable.
Yeah, the triage center, and the upgrade that at the supply depot or supply yard that makes your manpower rate not so significantly decreased is also good for pure rifle spam.
All right, so I guess that's
But
about
the
it
problem
here.
with the Axis is they have to be in tier 4 for the medical kits.
Yes, that is the unfortunate part. I don't think it should be tier 4. I think it should be tier 3, and I think it should be 25 munitions instead of 35, personally. Because the only place that 35 makes sense to spend it on is a sniper. Because if your sniper is at 10% health, he's very big in trouble. But if you get him back up to full, you have time to retreat him and such. But for a regular squad, just healing 1 or 2 of those guys, it's not worth 35 munitions. And a lot of the times, that's all you want to, heal. If that med kit was sort of a scaling price based on how damaged your guys were, I see that a very useful and cool ability. But at 35 munitions, the only time it's really useful is if you have 4 guys, at least, that are all heavily damaged. And then it's definitely useful. But up until that point, if you only have 1 or 2 and you've reinforced them with full guys, it's like a waste of munitions. Because you're only healing 2 of them and not all of them.
And the only time I really do that is when I have a damaged sniper, that I just really have to hold on to. And beyond that, though, it's usually not worth it in squads.
All right, so let's close it out here for the night. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Team Sportscast Network. This is Tales of Heroes. And I just wanted to mention quickly the website, tales.tsncentral.com, tales.tsncentral.com. Definitely check out gamereplays.com. gamereplays.org. I'm going crazy here. Planet COH, Planet Company of Heroes, planetcoh.com. It's the GameSpy one. Lots of GameSpy people, so if you have a GameSpy account and you talk on the forum, Planet boards and such, that's certainly your place to go. They have a very good news team as well there. There and gr.org both have very good news teams. And relicnews.com. Not very good news, but, big forums. TGE thinks they're all noobs. There's always a lot of people discussing stuff over there, so it's usually worth going to, though. So that's about it, and I guess I will thank both of you guys for coming on to the show.
You're welcome. Had fun.
All right, so with that, I will say good night to everyone. Thank you for listening to Tales of Heroes every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Team Sportscast Network. We call the shots. This is Bridger, signing off.
TSN, the Team Sportscast Network.
This broadcast is copyrighted 2006 by the Team Sportscast Network. Any copying, reproduction, redistribution, modification, rebroadcasting of any kind or any manner is expressly prohibited without the written permission of the Team Sportscast Network, LLC.